Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Sean Moss with Down Payment Resource. We have several members of the Down Payment Resource team in the background ready to answer your questions. Today, we are going to talk about growing your first-time homebuyer business and how to increase leads with Down Payment Connect. Our agenda is first to cover briefly the state of down payment assistance and the impact these programs can have. And then we'll talk a little bit about the first-time homebuyer market opportunity as we see it and try to quantify that a little bit. But the crux of today's webinar is about educating buyers about down payments, down payment requirements, down payment assistance solutions. And we're going to do that by showing you how to enhance your marketing and expand your marketing reach, specifically using Down Payment Connect, or even more broadly, using down payment assistance programs as a topic and a solution to lead into new conversations with aspiring homebuyers. At Down Payment Resource, for 15 years, we have tracked and monitored and maintained current, accurate, up-to-date information about all of the more than 2,300 programs across the country for down payment assistance, closing cost help, tax credits, affordable first mortgages, and more. We integrate that information into MLSs. We'll show you who our MLS partners are. Many of you with us today are agents that are members of our MLS partners, and you have all kinds of free down payment resource tools at your disposal. We also have Down Payment Connect, which again, if you are a member of one of our partner MLSs, we'll cover that in a few minutes, you have Down Payment Connect for free. But if you are a loan officer or you are a member of an MLS that we have not yet partnered with, we do have a subscription version of Down Payment Connect for both agents and loan officers. Now, that's not really what we're here for today. Of course, we do make that Down Payment Connect tool available. We're here to show you how to engage with and educate new buyers around the topic of down payment assistance, to let them know that help is out there, to illustrate for them or even illuminate for them a path to home ownership if they're maybe credit and income qualified but need help with the down payment or need help with the closing costs. There's help out there. It's not hard to talk about these programs. We'll show you who to partner with so that you come from a place of confidence and competence talking about down payment assistance. And ultimately, we are here today, and we have always been here to help you connect home buyers to the down payment help they need. So let's talk first about the state of down payment assistance. What's out there? Now, we have another webinar dedicated to digging into this in more detail, but let me briefly cover what's out there. Of all of the more than 2,300 programs for homebuyer assistance across the country, 3/4 of them, 75%, which is the big part of the pie graph here, are some form of down payment or closing cost help. Now, many of those programs have deferred payments, meaning there is no monthly payment. More than half of them are forgivable loans. So it's not a grant at closing, but it is forgivable at some point in the future. And more than half of them are both deferred and forgivable. And then there are some grants and there are some repayable seconds. But the point is, there are a lot of different kinds of down payment assistance. We track and monitor all of those programs and the nuances and details, and we make that readily available to you. But there are also affordable first mortgage loans. That makes up about 10% of all of the programs that are out there to help home buyers. Those can offer below market interest rates, reduced mortgage insurance costs, higher LTV financing, and can be combined often with down payment assistance. Then there are mortgage credit certificates. These are tax credits. And again, we have a whole separate webinar breaking all this down in more detail. But just to let you know, there are many different kinds of help out there for home buyers. And within the category of down payment assistance, there are many different kinds of repayment terms and kinds of programs. These programs are everywhere. Whether you are in a very urban or very rural market, a high cost or medium cost or low cost market, there are programs in every market in this country. At least because every state has a state housing finance agency whose programs are available statewide. These programs are also market adjusted. The income limits and the purchase price limits and the assistance amounts are market adjusted to reflect the medians in your market. So you will see higher income or purchase price limits in greater New York City or Southern California than you will in Atlanta or Denver or Ohio or something like that, right? So these programs are everywhere in every market from at least the state, and then you layer in all of the cities, the counties, the nonprofits, and so forth that have additional layers of opportunity. And in most markets, there are all kinds of layers of opportunity for home buyers to explore and for you to present to them to engage them in conversation. Now, what are we seeing in terms of down payment assistance more recently? Demand for these programs is through the roof, even from consumers. Now, we'll look at some studies we've done to sort of gauge consumer awareness of these opportunities. But more recently, through some of our work and some of our partnerships and your own work, there is increasing awareness of and demand for these down payment assistance programs among consumers. And that bubbles up as demand to fulfill for you and real estate agents and loan officers. We also see that down payment assistance providers continue to enhance their programs by increasing the amount of assistance they offer, by increasing income limits, by increasing purchase price limits, all of which is designed to keep the door open for as many aspiring home buyers as possible and to try to keep pace with rising prices. We also see more new programs continuing to launch across the country. I'll show you more about that in just a moment. And about 84% of all of these programs are currently funded, active, and available for the consumer to apply, for the loan officer to submit their application, for them to access. So all of this is to say down payment assistance is still available. Down payment assistance is not going away. In fact, there is, as you all well know, increasingly more attention on affordability challenges and down payment assistance programs, as well as down payment challenges and solutions. Now, I mentioned DPAs are on the rise. More and more programs are hitting the market. We are about to publish our next quarterly homeownership program index, which takes a snapshot of what's out there every quarter. So we just pulled the data and we're about to publish for Q1 of 2023. That will be the 6th straight quarter in which we have seen an increase in the number of homebuyer assistance programs around the country. So for a year and a half, each quarter, we have seen more programs hit the market. We've seen a net increase in the volume of homebuyer assistance programs available, and they're coming from everywhere: the state housing finance agencies, municipalities, nonprofits, and so forth. So more and more programs hitting the market. Now let's think about the consumer, the aspiring homebuyer. We know that among millennials and even the next generation, homeownership aspirations are high. We also know that especially as rates increase, prices have increased a lot in the last several years. They're trying to save. It's hard to keep up with moving goalposts. There are misperceptions about down payment requirements, but they want to stop renting. So how can we help them? We know that first-time homebuyers need help navigating the home buying process. That's universal for any first-time homebuyer, right? And of course, we know, especially for a first-time homebuyer, they need help getting pre-approved and understanding their mortgage options. We also know for down payment assistance, in order to access most of these programs for down payment help, they do have to complete a homebuyer education course. Now, that's something we need to be aware of and make sure that that gets done upfront before they even start getting pre-qualified for a mortgage. There's no reason to wait on that class. And we also know that increasingly, aspiring, especially younger home buyers, they need help covering their down payment and closing costs. And with limited inventory, they're going to need help navigating a competitive market. We've seen a lot of change in the last couple of years. Sellers are hesitant to accept FHA offers, down payment assistance offers, and so forth. So we want to sort of reframe that and talk about some of the benefits of down payment assistance programs, which we really drill down into in one of our other webinars. But in order to open the door to conversations with new buyers, we want to understand what they're facing, what their challenges are, whether or not they are real or perceived. So here's a study we did with the Urban Institute a few years ago, and we think this is still very timely and relevant. But part of that study, which was barriers to accessing home ownership, involved surveying aspiring homebuyers, millennial renters at the time. And some of the questions they asked, I want to point out here. I want to point out their responses. So these were millennial renters who were asked, what is your biggest barrier to home ownership? 68% of them said the down payment. None of us are surprised by that. We know the down payment is a big barrier. When asked how much they thought they needed as a down payment to purchase a home, 65% of them thought that they had to have a 15 or 20% or bigger down payment in order to explore home ownership. Now, again, we all know on this call that that's not accurate. That's not reflective of the true opportunities. FHA mortgage, 3.5% down. Conventional mortgage, 3% down, 5% down, right? VA, USDA, if they're eligible veterans or buying an eligible rural property, 0 down. That's not the problem. The problem is the aspiring home buyer doesn't necessarily understand those options, those low down payment options. To that point, when those millennial renters were asked if they were familiar with low down payment mortgage programs, more than 3/4 of them, 76%, had little or no familiarity with FHA, USDA, VA, and conventional mortgage financing when you don't have to have 20% down. Not to mention a lack of familiarity with down payment assistance programs. So all of this tells us, especially first-time home buyers and especially in an inventory restricted market, they need help understanding down payment requirements in order to realize that there is a path to home ownership for them at 3.5%, 5% down, and that there's down payment assistance and closing cost help and tax credits and all these other opportunities out there to help them down that path. So home buyers need help. We also know that real estate agents need loan officers who offer down payment assistance, and I would qualify that. So loan officers on this call, we know, and we're going to see it in the chat. We see this on every webinar that we do, and in fact, I think I'm already seeing it in Q&A. We know that real estate agents need loan officers who offer down payment assistance, who are good at originating down payment assistance loans, and who want that business. So there's 3 qualifiers there, right? You offer the programs, you're good at doing the programs, and you want that business from agents. Agents, reach out to your loan officer partners, the ones you work with now. What down payment assistance programs do they offer? Or if you need to find loan officers that offer these programs, reach out to your state housing finance agency. Ask them who's a top producer in your market, who does a lot of volume or submits great loan applications. Call any of the DPA providers in your market and ask them who submits good loan applications and who's good at doing their DPA program. That's a great way to find lenders. Ask your broker. Ask your brokerage partners or your broker if they have any referrals. There are lots of ways to find those lenders. Lenders teaching first-time homebuyer classes, things like that. And of course, loan officers, you need purchase applications, right? The refi phone calls are gone. So one way to get more purchase applications is to make sure that real estate agents in your market know that you offer DPAs, you're good at those programs, you're going to help them navigate any challenges or objections from the seller, from the seller's agent, and that you want that business from them. So how do we connect buyers to down payment assistance? A couple of things. One, if you are a member of one of our MLS partners, look for this button, the little $sign with the check mark on it. And here are our MLS customers. But when you see this button, just click on it in your MLS and we tell you which programs are out there. It's also in the client views when you're sending listings to your client. So if you're a member of one of these MLS partners, with the exception of the Kansas City Association, NYSAR in New York, and California Association, because they're not MLSs, the rest of these MLSs have integrated down payment assistance data into their listing system. So when you are looking at properties and listing and selling and sharing properties, you can see in Matrix, Paragon, Flex MLS, DynaConnect, whichever MLS system you're on, you can see that a listing is eligible for down payment help because it has this button, and you can click that button and see which programs are available for that listing at that price, at that location, at that time, because we track the evolution of these programs over time as well. So again, here's the list of our MLS partners. I'll rattle them off real quick. If you are a member of one of these MLSs, you already have that down payment resource integration automated for free inside your MLS because we partnered with your MLS. And you also have Down Payment Connect for free, which we're about to get into. But California Regional, Stellar in Florida, Real MLS in Jacksonville, Florida, MLS PIN in Massachusetts, One Key in Greater New York City and up the Hudson Valley, HAR in Houston, FMLS in Atlanta, Central Virginia and Richmond, North Star in the Twin Cities, Spokane in Washington, Northwest MLS in Seattle, Real Comp in Detroit, Greater Lansing in Michigan, MyBoard in Indianapolis, Austin Board of Realtors in Texas, Greater Alabama MLS in Birmingham, and San Antonio Board of Realtors in San Antonio, Texas. If you're a member of one of those MLSs, look for this button, click on it inside your MLS. Your clients can do the same, and you have access to property-specific down payment assistance information. Now, you also have access to Down Payment Connect. Now, I couldn't pull a screenshot of every MLS dashboard here, but all of you on your MLS dashboard have access somewhere to Down Payment Resource. I pulled a couple of examples of what to look for, but in Matrix, it's typically going to be in external links, or if you've got a dashboard like on the right here, look for third-party tools, partners, whatever, additional products, whatever your MLS calls it, and look for Down Payment Resource. That's going to take you to your Down Payment Resource dashboard, where you will find your Down Payment Connect link waiting for you. Again, if you're a member of one of our MLS partners from that list I showed you, you have this for free. This is a landing page unique to you, where consumers can do a search for down payment assistance programs where they want to buy a home. And instead of seeing all the details like they would inside your MLS, they basically fill out a contact form. They see how many programs are out there and how many dollars they might get, but they're going to fill out a contact form and engage in a conversation with you that delivers a lead to you. It is a lead generation tool. You are not buying leads. You are using the tool to supplement your marketing and enhance your reach to generate more leads on your own through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, your email marketing, your website, your blog, any of that. And that's what we're about to dig into and show you examples of how your peers are doing this. But first, that Down Payment Connect tool, even if you subscribe to it, which we'll talk about here in a second, if you get the paid version, it does come with marketing resources. That includes social media images, graphics libraries, customizable flyers in English and Spanish, recorded video tutorials, a social media training module for how to use Down Payment Connect on social media, and much more. So we're trying to give you plenty of resources to support you once we get off this webinar. But this webinar is also dedicated to showing you how your peers are using this tool and are talking about down payment assistance when they engage with consumers. Now, if you are not a member of one of our MLS partners, and if I can ask my team in the background to put this link in the chat, you can subscribe to a paid version of Down Payment Connect at downpaymentresource.com/DPC. So I see a couple questions in the Q&A about how do I get this if I'm not a member of one of those DPR MLS partners. This is how you can get it. Agents, $24 a month. Loan officers, $39 a month. Pay as you go, cancel anytime. Go check it out. But let's recap what you get here. So if you subscribe to the paid version because you don't have it for free through your MLS, then agents and loan officers, you still get your personalized landing page, unlimited traffic and leads. There's no limit to where you can put the tool, how much traffic you can send to it, or how many leads you can get from it. It's your tool. Please put it anywhere and everywhere you think would be useful or valuable. And it comes with marketing tools and social media training. Loan officers, you also get a detailed directory of all of the programs in your state, or up to 4 states if you're licensed in multiple states. And you can customize which programs display to your borrowers or to your prospective borrowers that are using the tool based on which programs you participate in or can offer. And you also have back office search tools that allow you to run searches yourself and compare results. Any agent can upgrade to the loan officer version if you wish, but if you have it through your MLS, please don't pay for it. You already have it for free. So again, lead gen page allows consumers to match themselves to the DPA programs that are out there, or for loan officers, the DPA programs you participate in. You get a dashboard of other tools in addition to the lead gen landing page. All of that, again, is at downpaymentresource.com/DPC. So now this is the crux of the webinar. So that was all the intro, state of the market, first-time home buyers, how to get Down Payment Connect. Let's spend the rest of this webinar looking at how your peers, real estate agents and loan officers all over the country, are leveraging down payment assistance program information, as well as the Down Payment Connect tool, to reach and educate and attract new buyers, to start conversations with buyers that are maybe not otherwise reacting to your social media outreach, your email campaigns, your website content. They're not filling out forms. They're not answering when you call. They're not reacting to email messages. We want to put a solution in front of them that's going to compel them to conversation. And given that the biggest obstacle for many home buyers, many aspiring home buyers, is the down payment, the best thing to put in front of them is solutions to the down payment obstacle. So I'm going to roll through a bunch of examples of how agents and loan officers around the country are talking about down payment assistance, presenting the opportunity to search for programs, and using Down Payment Connect to generate leads. We'll look at websites, social media, video, and more. I'm going to run through some screenshots first, but a lot of these can't really tell the full story without looking at the web page live. So we're going to look at even more of these live. But let me give you a few to start with. So Brian, real estate agent in Atlanta, homepage. He added right below his bio on the homepage a link to access his Down Payment Connect page. You see a graphic on the left and a couple sentences on the right. Down payment money is out there, great program. Please click the button to check your eligibility. Simple, right? Super simple. Just added a little bit of content to his homepage. Susan embedded the Down Payment Connect form into a page on her website. So basically, she just created a page for the tool and created an iframe and loaded her Down Payment Connect URL into that iframe. Again, super simple. I'll show you another couple examples of this live. But in this case, the user never leaves your website, right? They're just doing the search right there on your website, as opposed to linking out to another browser tab. Not that that's a bad thing either, but this looked good, wanted to share that. Create a new page. So this is sort of like what the previous example did, but Angela here created a link in her site navigation. So you can see across the top in slightly darker gray, there's a link that says Down Payment Assistance. That just loads the form on a page that she built to house Down Payment Connect. So they're still on her website, but the whole page is just the Down Payment Connect search experience. Again, super easy. Create the page, create the navigation link, and on the page, iframe your Down Payment Connect URL. Let's think about email. So from a couple of perspectives, whether we're talking about email marketing campaigns, so you're sending out maybe a drip campaign, a 3-part, 4-part series, talk about down payment assistance, offer your Down Payment Connect link in that email content. Or in this case, Sal here added his Down Payment Connect link in his email signature. So any email he sends out, or any email he sends out that gets forwarded on to other parties, includes access to his Down Payment Connect page, so that any aspiring home buyer can click on that and see which DPA programs are available where they want to buy a home that Sal can help them with. Now let's talk about video. We've got a few cool video examples here. So this one is a page we're actually going to look at live because there's a lot of educational content here. And we'll talk more about that when we go to this page live. But this is a team in Richmond, Virginia. And they start this educational page about down payment assistance with a video that they produce. Great video. It's not that long. And it talks about what down payment assistance is. So great idea, right? Leverage video. We'll come back to video in a minute. But let's think about homework or next steps. When a new client comes in the door, or a first phone call, first meeting, however you first meet them, what is their homework? What do you give them as a takeaway? What do you ask of them as a next step? This is from Ready Front Real Estate in Austin, Texas. Raul has a 3-step checklist that he gives to new clients. Step 1, find out what you can afford, including having a conversation about down payment assistance. Step 2 is get pre-qualified. So have that conversation with a loan officer, get pre-qualified, get pre-approved. And then step 3, come back and let's continue your house hunt, knowing your budget, knowing which down payment assistance program you're going to use if applicable, and make sure that all of the next steps and necessary steps are lined up. So again, what's your takeaway for a new client? What's your homework? What do you ask of them? And does that include having a conversation about cash to close, where it's going to come from, and the solutions that may be out there to help them? Now, this is actually still Raul from Austin, whose checklist we just looked at. One of the other things he did when he was new to the business, out of the military, was he started working with veterans and found that he was getting a lot of the same questions over and over. And so he came up with a drip campaign for social media that asked and answered 10 of the top questions that he was getting. So the questions would trickle out, and whether it's every day, every other day, one a week, the idea was address and then answer or ask and answer some of those common questions. And as we'll see in a few minutes, some of these questions are things that maybe some first-time home buyers or many first-time home buyers don't know to ask. And so posing the question is important because it's teaching them what to ask and what to look for. And then, of course, answering it provides them the context and the education that they need. But you can see here in this post, question number 6 in Raul's campaign here is, when researching home loans, what is the best approach to look for down payment and closing cost assistance? Great place to inject your Down Payment Connect link so the consumer can then immediately go search for those down payment programs where they want to buy a home. Now, sticking with Facebook here for a minute, there's a few things I want to highlight here, and this is kind of my favorite part of this webinar. This is one of my favorite examples. This is a real estate team in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, but as you see in the blue banner across the top, they are co-marketing with their mortgage partners. They are co-educating consumers and engaging consumers together, real estate team and lending team. But the crux of this post, of this example, is the story that they tell in the post. Now, I've cut off the pictures, but they got permission to get the pictures, the names, and tell the story of Jasmine, who purchased her first home and got $12,000 in down payment and closing cost assistance from this real estate team and their mortgage partner. That is such a cool story to tell aspiring home buyers. You are essentially telling them, here's what your neighbor, your peer just accomplished through us. We can do this for you too. Reach out, call us, let's have that conversation. And in the same post or campaign, dispel any myths about 20% down misperceptions and things like that. Let them know that, hey, maybe the answer is not even no, maybe it's just not yet, but the answer could quite possibly be yes, you are ready for homeownership. We just need to have the conversation and figure out how and what your path to homeownership is. So love this story, love the idea of telling one consumer's story or journey to homeownership and success in pursuing homeownership, and telling that story to their peers, other consumers, other aspiring homebuyers. Same team in Minnesota, leveraging video. A couple things to point out here. The timestamps on these videos are all about a minute, right? 1-minute videos, super quick hitting. The locations, one is in a kitchen, one's in the corner of a room, one's in a hallway. Not Hollywood productions, right? They don't need to be. Point is, quick hitting videos that in this case do something very interesting, which we just talked about with Raul. They ask and answer very simple questions, but questions that aspiring homebuyers don't always know to ask. How long is a pre-approval good for? I'm reading down the right side here. What does good credit mean? How to get rid of mortgage insurance. The main video on the page, how to find a lender that offers down payment assistance. This real estate team has partners in place and they're ready to work with first-time homebuyers. And if down payment assistance is a need, they have lender partners lined up that they know offer those programs, are good at them, and want that business from this team. And so they're educating consumers about how to make that happen, which is a critical first step, right? We need to get more and more people talking to your loan officer partners to make sure they're pre-qualified, to make sure we're discussing cash to close requirements and solutions for cash to close obstacles. That conversation has to happen up front, and we can create more buyers if we have more of those conversations, because we know that there are millions of income and credit qualified aspiring home buyers out there who don't know it or don't realize it or don't pursue home ownership because they think they have to have a bigger down payment than they truly do. Now, another example, this is a team in Seattle. So we'll actually look at this example live, but they built a page for home buyers. It's a down payment assistance page, and there's actually a lot of educational content here. And they also embedded the Down Payment Connect form on their website. I'll show you more about that live, because that's one of the examples where you can't actually see the whole picture. You can't get the full picture until we look at the website live. So here we have Maryland and Indianapolis. Now, we're not saying that you need to go spend the money on Facebook ads or boosting posts, but we are here to give you more and more ideas about how to reach and engage and educate buyers. Maryland ran ads on Facebook, and you can see there are two sentences. Many first-time home buyers qualify for down payment money. See if you qualify, and let's get shopping for your new home. Link that to your Down Payment Connect page, get more and more buyers engaging with you, capture their information, and start those conversations. Marilyn found that she was able to maximize her Down Payment Connect landing page, which for her, as for many of you, was a free tool that she had access to through her MLS. She got good leads, they responded, they were interested, and we're seeing more and more that this content, this information is compelling consumers to dialogue with agents and loan officers, because again, many of them are income or credit qualified, but they're not pursuing home ownership because they think that they can't afford it. They think they have, they face a bigger down payment obstacle than perhaps they do. Now let's flip to Instagram. I'll show you two examples here. This is a great post, Bo in Florida. Click the link in my bio. See if you qualify for down payment assistance or help with your closing costs. And I love this. Stop second guessing yourself and don't leave money on the table. Click to see if you qualify and contact me today. That's great. That's a great post. That's a great way to engage buyers. And it gets them thinking, oh, wait, there's money on the table. I didn't know that. Let me call Bo and have a conversation about that. So again, compel them to conversation by filling in the gap where they think down payment requirements are bigger than they are. Here's another one, loan officer in California. His post, are you looking to buy a home, but you're worried that you don't have the down payment saved up? Well, guess what? With our down payment tool, you can search for all the programs that are out there. Do your search, contact me, let's talk. Again, great post. Are you worried that you don't have the down payment saved up? Maybe you don't need as much as you thought, and also there's help out there. So love it. Now, I did say we would look at some live examples. So I want to show you even more, because there's some really cool, really creative stuff going on out there, from super simple implementations that are easy to get out there to really dedicated efforts to inform and educate. So let's go through some more. This is a team in Florida, and super simple here. All they did was add under the buy menu on their website a link to down payment assistance. Now, I'm actually going to click on that this time. I want to show you the consumer experience. Okay, what I've been showing you so far is how to get the consumer into Down Payment Connect. But what are they actually doing when they're there? So let's walk through that real quick. So from Suncoast, let's click on Brandy's link here. So we find that down payment help is out there. Now this is the consumer now, right? So they're in your Down Payment Connect page. Now this one's Brandy's, so the lead is going to go to Brandy. But the consumer doesn't even have to have an address. They may be so early on that they don't have an address in mind. They're not under contract. They're just trying to figure out if they can buy in a particular city. So let's put in Orlando. And baseline, 18 programs, right? Now, if you're a loan officer, that may be lower based on what programs you offer. But nonetheless, they're going to see the programs that are available to them. And then they don't have to enter anything else if they don't want to. But look, if they enter a purchase price, we're going to account for that. At 450 in Orlando, there's still some help, but we've started to exceed purchase price limits for some of those programs. Now, those limits are going to be a lot higher in other markets and maybe a little bit lower in lower cost markets, but we're looking in Orlando, so we'll stick to that range. Now, I went down to 375 or back up to 11 programs. If I just don't enter anything, 18 programs. What if I want to buy a duplex? Maybe there's an opportunity for me to buy a home, live in one unit, and rent the other one out and get down payment assistance to do that. Well, we still have 15 of those 18 programs available. Or what if I enter my household size, let's say a household of 4 and an income of $87,000? Well, that started to exceed the income limits of some of those programs. But what if my household size is 1? Well, household size makes a difference, right? But again, don't have to enter that. What if they currently own a home? One big misperception is that these programs are only for first-time home buyers, and that is not true. There are plenty of programs all over the country in just about every market that do not have a first-time home buyer requirement or will waive it in certain circumstances. For example, for military service or buying in a targeted area or other circumstances. So military service, to that point, might increase the count, or being employed in a certain profession, education, law enforcement, first responder, healthcare. There may be hero programs out there. Now, if you're a member of one of our MLS partners and you've used down payment resource inside your MLS, you see all the program details when you click the down payment button. Here, it's different. With Down Payment Connect, you're outside the MLS on social media, in your marketing, on your blog, in your email marketing, on your website, and you're trying to engage the eyeballs that you're getting on any of those platforms by giving them a tool and offering them a path to home ownership. So we're not going to show them all these 18 programs. We don't want to. We want them to pick up the phone and call you and say, hey, thanks for giving me access to this information. I see that there might be 18 programs out there that can help me, or 2 or 7 or 31, whatever the number is, right, in your market. We want them to fill out this contact form, which then emails you with a lead. Only you, right? It doesn't go to anybody else. They're not sold off anywhere. We're not selling the leads to you. You have Down Payment Connect. It's your tool. This lead goes to you. They fill this out. You get an email telling, obviously, their contact info, where they searched, the price they looked at, the programs they found, and links to details of those programs. Only after the consumer submits this form do we email the consumer with a confirmation that has your contact info and the names of the programs they found, but no links to any third party, because again, it's your lead. So that is the consumer experience. That's what the consumer is doing when they click on a Down Payment Connect button. So here, it was just a simple addition of a down payment link in the website navigation menu. Here's another example of the same thing under buy. So where are we here? Florida. Under buy, investment property resource guide, down payment assistance, eligibility. I click on this, I go to Tracy's Down Payment Connect tool, and anything I do here goes to Tracy. All right, so let's look at a few more examples. Sacramento. This team actually has some really cool information here about first-time home buyers in Sacramento. And they give a lot of education here, including down payment resources. They talk about down payment assistance. And in their website navigation, if we go back to the top, down payment tool, we click on that and we go to Keisha's down payment tool. We start our search for down payment assistance and we go on from there. So those are some super simple integrations, right? Just adding a menu item to your website navigation. Now here's kind of a splash page. This is Oklahoma City. This is just a page dedicated to DPA on the website. That's the whole thing. I just scrolled through the whole page. It's an image with a content block on top of it and a link to Down Payment Connect. Looks good. It's super simple. It's a great destination page. So maybe you run a social media campaign and you run people to this page, or you could just link directly in the Facebook post or whatever. But this page looks good, right? Just a couple sentences. It doesn't take much to compel or incentivize or convince an aspiring home buyer to take a look at down payment assistance. Click the link below, answer a few questions, and discover all the programs that can save on your down payment and buy sooner. We want to expedite home ownership for more people. And then, of course, there's the link. We click on it and we go to their Down Payment Connect page. Love it. Super simple page, right? Here we've got a loan officer, I think a mortgage broker, and I believe this is in Florida. There's a little bit of content here, right? I've cracked the code to home ownership with little to no money down. Down payment assistance. I'm a mortgage loan officer. There's millions of dollars available in down payment assistance, but no one knows how to check for or receive these funds. Great message, right? So he says, here's how you access it. There's all kinds of programs across Florida. You've never heard of them because a lot of LOs don't talk about them, but I do. Here's the button. See if you qualify. Perfect. Love it. Super simple, very compelling. And he's even got some additional educational content here to supplement that page. Great. Love it. This is Ruben, and he's just built a page on his website and free tools, down payment resources, and takes you here. He just has the form loaded into his page, and we do our search right there on the page. Don't even leave his website, right? And then I showed you a screenshot of this one earlier. This is that team in Seattle under advice for buyers on their website. They built a page for down payment assistance. This is that page with educational content. So we've got a few paragraphs of information about down payment assistance programs. And then below it, they did the same thing we just saw from Ruben. They embedded the down payment search on their website, and anything I do here goes to Gerhard and his team. And then here's a mortgage company. So they've got a page here about down payment assistance and loan officers. Are you directing real estate agents to a page like this on your website? Do you even have one? How are you promoting your expertise, your experience, your desire to do that business with more and more real estate agents? So this page goes on. Down payment programs are available. To see if you qualify, click here. Simple, right? And then a little bit more education. And again, click here. So that's going to take us to their Down Payment Connect tool. Like this one too. This is in Montana. So super quick, super simple, making home more affordable. And if we click on this big image, which came from our image library, then we go to Teresa's Down Payment Connect page. But there's more sort of like FAQ style education here, which we love. What are down payment assistance programs? How do they work? Who can qualify? What are the benefits? And again, if they didn't click on it yet, there's another button to their Down Payment Connect search page. Love it. That is so cool. FAQ style, super quick read, easy to digest, and several calls to action to get them into your down payment search. Here's another one I showed you earlier. This is that team in Richmond, Virginia. I mentioned they started their down payment assistance page with a video. But then, and this is, by the way, under Guide to Buying a Home. So, they're speaking to the first-time home buyer, or at least the home buyer. Down payment assistance, we land here. Look at all this educational content. This is great. All kinds of information about DPA programs and several calls to action to get them into that Down Payment Connect search. This graphic is a link to Down Payment Connect. This link in the text is a link to Down Payment Connect. We're talking about who qualifies, what are the criteria, finances, home ownership history, profession. Here's another call to action. Again, all these come from our graphics library. Price, location, great page, great educational play. Love it, and wanted to show you all the context there. Couple more examples here. Blog. Do any of you have a blog? If so, you are forever looking for content. You're trying to stay fresh, stay relevant, keep the blog active. Talk about down payment assistance. There are so many ways to break that down and turn it into a series or a campaign. But you can see more of our graphics here. This is a simple blog post with calls to action leading to, in this case, Chaz and his Down Payment Connect page. The blog post itself is super simple. Down payment money's out there. Let's find it. What is down payment assistance? Couple sentences. There's a video. This is actually our video. We produce it for you guys to use. We encourage you to use it. It's home buyer oriented. And then the blog post ends with a super simple set of instructions. It's so simple, guys. Click the button, enter your info, get your results, call me. That's it. That's exactly what we want them to do, right? And then there was one more call to action at the bottom, a big button where they can click to find out what's out there for them. So I'll wrap up the live examples with Facebook. How simple is this? Things to know if you're buying, and a link to information about down payment assistance programs. Or things to know if you're buying. For example, you don't have to have 20% down. Click here to find out what's out there. Be creative, but keep it simple. You don't have to write an ebook or a white paper to get the attention of a buyer. You can do it in 1 or 2 or 3 sentences. For example, I'll end with this one. Shayna in Detroit, down payment money's out there. Let's find it. Use my Down Payment Connect page to find programs that can help you save money on down payment and closing costs. There's her link. Nice graphic. Super simple, right? Keep it simple. All of these ideas were just meant to give you precisely that. Many different ways or ideas about how to engage more buyers, how to get the word out there that there's help, and how to illustrate a path to home ownership. So let's wrap it up and leave time for Q&A here. Start more conversations. I won't go back through all this, but email marketing, email signature, market listings that are eligible for down payment, Facebook ads, Facebook posts, Instagram profile, your website, educational content, video, drip marketing campaigns, incorporate down payment assistance, your blog, talk about DPAs. All of these are just more ways to engage buyers, but remember, leverage the experts along the way. We know that if you're an agent, you need a lender that participates in these programs, and as I mentioned earlier, meets 3 criteria. Offers DPA, is good at DPA, and wants your DPA business. Find those lending partners. They are in every market. Work with the DPA providers. They may have training events, networking events, classes you can teach, classes that loan officers are teaching that you can attend. They're also a great place to go to find participating lenders. Ask them who the lenders are that work well with their program. And then highlight information about your local DPA programs. Promote the fact that you can get $10,000 from program XYZ, right? And then, of course, lastly, I would say if you get the chance, your buyers have to go through a homebuyer education class in order to access most of these down payment assistance programs. You should try one, attend one, or part of one, or sit with one of your clients for a while and just see and hear and listen to and absorb the content that they are getting, the information they're getting as they go through that class, and see what works for you. See what would resonate in your own marketing and how you can adapt that content to your own marketing. We also have a Down Payment Insiders group on Facebook. There are actually over 11,000 now down payment insiders sharing stories about working with first-time home buyers and sharing marketing successes, networking, agents and lenders connecting. So we encourage you to join the group, listen in, network, share your stories, help educate, however you want to participate. But facebook.com/groups/down payment insiders. And maybe my team can post that link in the chat as well. One more time, I want to come back to who our MLS partners are. Remember, if you are a member of one of the MLSs, so Kansas City Association, they use a different tool. NYSAR is not an MLS, nor is California Association. We have different partnerships with them with different benefits. But if you're a member of one of the MLSs, the rest of the group here, you have Down Payment Connect for free. And you also have a full integration of down payment assistance data in your MLS system. If you're not a member of one of these MLSs or you are a loan officer, you can still subscribe to Down Payment Connect. I'll give you that link in just a second. I'll leave you 2 case studies. Amber, Florida, stellar MLS, new to the business. Her clients were her peers. They weren't getting their questions answered about down payment requirements. They had misperceptions. She learned about the DPAs in her market. She partnered up with lenders and loan officers that know these programs and originate them well. And she built her business on first-time home buyers and down payment assistance. And Raul at the bottom, we saw 2 examples of some of his creative ideas. He came out of the military, working with veterans, trying to purchase homes. and was looking for better ways to navigate that process and wove down payment assistance into some of those marketing ideas and solutions for veterans. So downpaymentresource.com/DPC, that is where you can go to subscribe to the paid version of Down Payment Connect if you don't already have it for free. And I'll put our contact information up here, and look to Mel and Tracy and Will and the rest of our team in the background. Guys, what's going on in Q&A? Any trends we need to address? Any questions that you want to prioritize?
Yeah. Hey, Sean, we have had so many fantastic questions. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Just a couple of things that I'll start with. Just want to remind everyone that we did record this session. We will be sending it out to everyone that registered along with the slides. We've had that question come up a lot today. Something else that I've seen, Sean, repeated is wanting to know if these programs are available exclusively to first-time home buyers. And if you want to talk more about that, that's fine. But I've just been letting everybody know the answer to that is no, that we actually, out of the 2,300 plus programs we have in our database, almost 40% of them do not have a first-time home buyer requirement. So they're not just for first-time home buyers. Something else, Sean, and I know you touched on it briefly, but we've had a ton of people saying that they're having trouble finding lenders. So if you don't mind going over lenders that do DPA, I'm sorry, if you don't mind just going over really quick the key points that you touched on there, because I've had that question a ton.
Yeah, so a couple things. And one more point on first-time home buyers. Remember too, for down payment assistance, you are a first-time home buyer if you have not had ownership interest in a primary residence in the last 3 years. So basically it's the 3-year rule. If you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years, you're a first-time home buyer. That rule may differ slightly, but the 3-year part is standard for down payment assistance. As far as finding loan officers, and I'll attach this to one of the questions I see in the Q&A, I'll give you a couple ways to find loan officers. First, go to our Facebook group, Down Payment Insiders. There are over 11,000 agents and loan officers and some DPA providers and counselors in there. And one of the things they're doing, in addition to educating and sharing success stories and best practices, is they're networking. They're finding each other. Inside that Facebook group, we see all the time, hey, I'm an agent in Birmingham. I'm an agent in Sacramento or wherever. I need a loan officer in my market, licensed here, that does DPA and wants to work with me. So go to Down Payment Insiders and network. Or agents, talk to your existing lending partners. Maybe you just haven't had a DPA transaction or opportunity come up, or maybe the topic hadn't come up. They may well offer down payment assistance programs and it just hasn't come up. So definitely talk to your existing lender partners and see what they offer. But if you need to find lenders if you still need to find lenders that offer down payment assistance, check with the program providers. Go to your state housing finance agency website, go to the local DPA providers, call them, ask them, who's a top producer in my market? Who can I partner with? Go to your broker, ask them if they have any referrals, or any of the agents in your brokerage work with a loan officer that offers DPA. Use Down Payment Resource. We tell you who the participating lenders are for every program. That's the first thing we tell you when you open up the details of any program on just about any part of our platform. So those are several ways. But I also want to talk to loan officers for a minute here. I see a question in the Q&A. How do we get around the red tape of how long these programs can take? Some sellers shy away from buyers who use down payment assistance because of the length of time it takes. So loan officers, that's a question for you. How much longer does it really take for you to execute on a DPA transaction? We know that there are loan officers out there that don't like these programs. They don't want to do this business, and they're probably not on this webinar. But those that are on this webinar probably do these programs, and that's why they came here. So I can tell you, when we talk to loan officers anywhere in the country that do volume with down payment assistance, they've got it down. They know the program that they're originating. They know the timeline. They don't view it as really any different than any other transaction. And I'm not saying every loan officer views it that way, but I would say find the right loan officer partner that wants your first-time home buyers. And loan officers, we're all looking for purchase business. These are great referral opportunities. Build the agent relationship, build the consumer relationship, get referrals from both. That seems clear to us. But also, loan officers work with the seller, help the agent overcome those objections from the seller. And we hear this all the time too. Loan officers that do a lot of volume with down payment assistance, they'll tell us, yeah, absolutely. I'll pick up the phone. I'll call the listing agent and I'll talk to them about their objections or the objections they're putting in the ear of the seller. And I'll tell them, look, I do these DPAs all day long. We got a 30-day contract. We're closing in 25. Doesn't matter to me if they put 10% down or they're using down payment assistance. So anyway, I tied that how to find a lender question to this, but I think it's relevant because agents need your help with that too. If you're savvy with DPAs and you know the timeline and you're good at it, let the agent know, your buyer's agent, but also the seller and the seller's agent too, because that's where the objections truly lie. Anyway, Mel, so we got a couple more minutes. Any other questions that you want to pull out and prioritize?
I'm just still answering them over here, Sean, but I know Will marked a couple. You may have just answered. I apologize. I was typing away, but I marked a couple in Q&A, and you may just want to see, we still have a ton coming in. So you may just want to go there and see if you can answer what's going on. I've encouraged people to ask questions there. So.
Yeah. So Will, I see you marked one for live discussion. This is from Ijaz. Out of so many resources, it's complicated to know which one the buyer should apply for. It's too much work for the buyer. How can we guide them to which one to apply first? I would say, again, leverage your loan officer. They're going to know generally pretty quickly which is the best down payment assistance program. And more importantly, what is the need of that buyer? Like, how much are they trying to cover? What's the cash to close gap that they need to cover to get qualified? And what are the programs out there that can fill it? And then, they're going to look at income, credit, assets, employment, all that stuff, because they still have to qualify for a mortgage, right? But I would say the real answer to that question is, yes, there may be a lot of opportunity. That's a good thing. A lot of opportunity is better than a little bit or no opportunity. But navigating, 5-10 different DPA options, yes, I get it. That's a few minutes exercise in, okay, which one's the best? But that exercise is best done in partnership with or by the loan officer. They're going to know which of those DPA programs is the best option, and they'll help cut through that manual effort or red tape pretty quickly and get everything set up and moving forward. That's what you should expect out of a savvy DPA lender. Will, did you have anything else, Mark, that you wanted to cover live?
I've got one. It's pretty general, but perhaps you can provide some background with respect to the 3-year rule for first-time home buyers and how that applies, across all programs, if that's the same across all programs.
Yeah, so I'll clarify that a little bit. So the 3-year part is basically universal. That's a HUD rule in some other agencies as well, but all DPA providers in all states have essentially adopted the 3-year rule. If you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years, you are a first-time home buyer for the purpose of down payment assistance. Now, there can be nuances in the case of divorce or inheritance or things like that, or maybe they owned a property, but it was, wasn't their primary residence or it was in another state. Basically, keep it simple. If you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years, you're a first-time home buyer. If there's some nuance to your situation, work with your loan officer to figure out what the right path is. Will, anything else you want to cover? And then I'll go to Tracy.
Yeah, I've got 2 on the average processing time for loans closed with DPA, if there's any idea there.
Yeah, so this is sort of back to some earlier comments, but so let's be fair. Every down payment assistance program is different, right? But more and more and more of these DPA providers, the state housing finance agencies, the nonprofits and so forth, especially your housing finance agencies, they've done a lot of work to streamline this process. They know that lenders are doing volume with their program. They know they have to keep it simple. And many of the state HFAs, local housing finance agencies, they've done a great job streamlining this process. And again, a savvy DPA lender or loan officer will know that, will share that with you, and will, point to the fact that a DPA transaction, generally speaking, is not going to take a lot longer. That said, yes, there are nuances. Yes, there may be a program that, takes a week longer. But let me put it this way too, and I want everybody to think about this from a different perspective. if you didn't have that DPA that maybe took an extra week or two to get done, would you have that buyer? Would that be a qualified home buyer? Would that transaction happen? So I think that's part of flipping the script here on these down payment programs is if we didn't have that DPA opportunity, did we have that buyer and that transaction? And that's for the agent and the loan officer, right? So, what you're looking at is maybe it takes a week or two longer for some particular down payment program. Also look at that through the lens of whether or not you get paid on that transaction, because if the transaction doesn't happen without a DPA, what are we even talking about, right? I'm just trying to look at that from both perspectives. Tracy, anything you want to pull out here and answer live?
I know we're right here at the end of our session, and I know that you covered this, but I have had several people asking about where to find Down Payment Connect on their MLS. And I know that it does vary from one MLS to another as to where exactly that's placed on there. But I just wanted to take a minute, and you can talk on it more, but I've been answering everybody that generally it's under products or external links where you can find down payment resource. Just click on that, and then it will take you directly to your page, your home page, where you can find that link, and then you can start placing that out there. And what Sean just put on the screen shows you an example of what that looks like.
Yeah, so I couldn't put dozens of examples up here, but basically log into your MLS, and from your MLS dashboard, where you would access your actual listing system or any of the other third-party tools that your MLS offers, there's going to be something like what you see on the screen here, but you're looking for down payment resource. And when you click that, it will take you to your down payment resource dashboard where you've got your free Down Payment Connect link if you're a member of one of our MLS partners. And so we are almost done. Tracy, anything else you want to cover while I put our contact information up on the screen?
The only other thing is along the same lines, if you are utilizing down payment resource on your MLS and you're looking at the listings, I've had several people ask if they're not seeing the logo on there, if that means that it is not eligible. I do want to let people know that if it is a new listing, the same day listing, then we filter through and we do a scan every night of changes to listings and any new listings to locate those. So if it's a brand new listing, it may just have not gone through our scan yet to be able to be caught. So just be mindful of that. But that's it.
Yeah, and I'll give you a couple examples. If you're on Matrix, maybe scroll out to the right in the list view or go to the listing detail and look near the pictures. That's where you might find this button. If you're in Flex MLS, go to the detail and you'll see it along the top in the detail view. Dyna list view, it should be right there. I mean, you may have to scroll left or right because you may have some custom configuration or something. And then Paragon, click the plug and it's in the third-party apps. So it's going to be different by MLS, but hopefully that very quickly covers what you're all looking for. So we'll wrap here. Thank you all for joining. I'm going to put our contact information back on the screen. We had a very large audience. If we didn't get to your question today, we apologize. We just had so many questions coming in. Thank you to my team in the background for helping out. Thank you for everybody joining. Go grab Down Payment Connect. Take it for a spin. Engage more buyers. If you have any questions, once we get off here, reach out to us at info@downpaymentresource.com. And if you do not have Down Payment Connect for free through your MLS, please feel free to subscribe or at least review the product at downpaymentresource.com/DPC. With that, thank you all. Have a wonderful day, and we'll send the recording and some additional resources out to you by tomorrow. Thank you.